Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharini Nivashesha Sunyavati Astutyadi Sadarani
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Astutyadi Sadarani.
Jaya Shri Krishna Nrsimha, Jai Nrsimha, Jai Jai Nrsimha Dev.
Nrsimha, Jai Nrsimha, Jai Jai
Shri Nrsimha, Jai Nrsimha, Jai Jai Nrsimha Dev.
Nrsimha, Jai Nrsimha, Jai Jai Nrsimha.
Nrsimha Chaturdashi ki. Oh, Premanandi. So today is the appearance of Lord Nrsimha Dev. So it's a very special day for the devotees, because the Lord is always there to protect his devotees. So in this particular case, Prahlad Maharaj was actually born in a family of demons, and his father was a very big demon. Well, the story really begins even before Prahlad Maharaj. It begins with the 4 Kumaras, these 4 young boys, who, they were actually great sages, but they appeared as little children. And they purposely didn't want to grow up, because once they get to a certain age, when they reach puberty, then all these desires come. So they didn't want to get to that. So they had the magical powers or mystic powers. They can keep themselves young. So they were apparently like little boys if you saw them, but they were great sages. So they went they could travel to all different planets. And they actually went to Vaikuntha. Kunta means anxiety. Vaikuntha is the place where there's no anxiety. I just heard this somewhere, that this one person was studying pain, and he said that he's not found anyone who is free from pain. Everyone is suffering, either physical or mental, he said, but everyone is suffering. So that's the nature of the material world. There is suffering. And the nature of the spiritual world is there is no suffering. Vaikuntha, the place without suffering. So these 4 young boys went to Vaikuntha, and then there were 2 gatekeepers named Jai and Vijay, and I don't really know why they have gatekeepers. I don't know how anybody ever snuck in, but these 4 boys wanted to get in, and the gatekeepers stopped them, because they look like they're just little boys. They don't know where they're going. You know, you guys must be lost. This is Vaikuntha. You can't just come in here like, it's not, it's like a regular home or something. This is the spiritual world. You have to be qualified to come in. And you're little boys. You're not that qualified yet. So these little boys became upset, and they cursed these gatekeepers. So actually, that time Lord Narayan came, and he said, what's the fuss? What's going on here? There seems to be some sort of problem. And then he found out that these gatekeepers were cursed to come to the material world. So actually, when you read this in the Bhagavatam, it seems, from what I get out of it, is that the 4 Kumaras should really not have cursed the gatekeepers. Of course, it's pastimes too. So besides that, they shouldn't. And sometimes even though the gatekeepers really didn't do anything wrong, that the Lord took the sides of the Kumaras, because the gatekeepers, they could take it more. He couldn't just tell them that you shouldn't have chastised, it was wrong. So it was all part of his whole plan. But then the Lord told the 2 gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay, that you have to come to the material world either as 3 times as my enemies, or 7 times as, is it 7 times? 7 times as my devotees. So they discussed it, and they decided amongst themselves that they'd rather come back as soon as possible, so we'll just take 3 births as your enemies. So then they came down to the material world as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha, the boar incarnation. And after this, Hiranyakashipu really took this personally and decided he's got to he wants to kill Vishnu. Vishnu is his enemy, the biggest enemy. He killed his brother. Now, of course, he's not remembering his past life of Jai or Vijay. I don't know which one he was. But he's not remembering that, but he is remembering Vishnu, and he wants to kill him. He wants him. He's so upset with Vishnu. So, then Hiranyakashipu's wife, what's her name? Kayadu, okay. It's difficult when everybody says it different timing. Kayadu. So she was pregnant, and the demigods captured her because they were going to kill this child when it was born. It's kind of like you might see, even Duryodhana, it was told that they should kill him when he was born, but they didn't do it. You know, because he's just a little baby, he's innocent, he's pure, you know. It's just like, you know, Hitler. If you knew what he was going to be like, if you kill him at birth, it saves a lot of problems, you know. So they thought that this, that Duryodhana, and they thought also the son of Hiranyakashipu, he's the biggest demon. He is so powerful. It's natural, you know, like father, like son, you know, or chip off the old block. This is like what normally happens. You know, the children, the parents somehow, have some effect. There's two things. There's nature and nurture. And they both have an effect. One is your nature, what you're born in a family. So say you have twins born in certain family, and one goes here and one goes there. They're going to be different, but certain qualities are going to be in them both. And they're going to show those qualities no matter what. So that's nature. But nurture is you can train somebody, you can bring them up, and then so both of them have an effect. It's not just one only, both of them. Just like with Arjuna, it says that you were born with the divine qualities. Thank you. So they're thinking, number one, this boy has the qualities of his father, who is the biggest demon we've ever seen. So we have to kill him. Number two, if he lives, he's going to be trained by his father, who's the biggest demon we've ever seen. So in both ways, he's going to be really, really powerful, horrible demon. We better kill him when he's born. They didn't want to hurt the mother. They're just going to kill her baby. But Narada Muni, because Narada Muni, he knows past, present, and future, he can understand that the baby in this room is a devotee. It's not a demon. So he took her to his ashram and he preached. He read Srimad Bhagavatam. He told her all about Krishna. And Prahlad in the womb was able to hear all of this. And he became a devotee just from hearing the instructions of Narada Muni. So then, and he went back home. He was born, and his fathers, loved him like a normal father. Normal demon father loves their child. And then when he was going to school, he was this little boy going to school, and he was a little different than the other kids. The other kids are all sons of demons, not as great as Hiranyakashipu. Their father was not as big of a demon as he was, but they were still sons of demons. But he was not into this demoniac preaching or demoniac education. He was into chanting Hare Krishna So when the teachers left, he would teach the kids about Krishna consciousness. And then they tried very hard. And then one day, his father took him on his lap and he asked him, what is the best thing that you have learned? And he said something, I don't know the exact words. Anybody know the exact words, what he said? But to the effect that Lord Vishnu is the supreme, and to serve him and worship him is the best thing that we could possibly do. And Vishnu was his greatest. He took his son, he threw him on the floor. He was just like fried. Where did you get this from, you know? And he thought his teachers were teaching him this. So he talked to the teachers. They never said anything. I don't know where he gets it from. So he says, okay, bring him. They tried again with Prahlad and trying to brainwash him into this demoniac mentality. But Prahlad, he was so pure that doesn't matter what the teacher said, he understood. So it wasn't just theoretical knowledge that Prahlad had, but he had realization. He realized how Vishnu is supreme. I am his eternal servant. And if I just serve him, he'll take care of me. I don't need to do anything else. He had realizations. So then his father became very upset with his son. And he wanted to kill him. And he tried to kill him in so many ways. Oh, I should go back. I forgot. I skipped a whole big, huge part where he wanted to be immortal. Hiranyakashipu wanted to become immortal. So he performed these great austerities, standing on the tip of his toes for 125 celestial years. Not 125 of our years, which is like nothing. 125 celestial years on the tip of his toes. Just try standing. I mean, we can't even stand on the tip of our toes. We can stand on the, we can bend our toes like that, but you can stand on the tip of your toes. I mean, maybe if you have a chin-up bar or something, you might be able to do it for a little bit. And if you could do it, how long can you do it for? Anyway, this was a great, great austerity. And it was so austere that he stayed in this position even though ants made an anthill around him and ate all his flesh. He still stayed with his hands raised on the tip of his toes. And then he became so powerful that his head was glowing like 1,000 suns. It was glowing. And then it produced fire. And it was heating up the whole universe. And the whole universe, there was smoke coming from all over the place. And it's like, what are we going to do now? So then then Brahma came. And Brahma saw that he was performing these great austerities. And Brahma, I think he had his pot, his Kamandala. But did he pour water on him? Yeah, I think he poured water on him. And then he made his body whole again. So he liked that, Hiranyakashipu. But he wanted to become immortal. So he asked, now we read just this, normally I read this morning, at least this particular chapter, which is the one I forgot to talk about. That we read where we always speak about how he asked to become immortal, and Brahma said, even I'm not immortal. But we didn't read that in the chapter today. To become immortal. So he asked for benedictions, such as, I don't want to be killed in the day or the night. Okay, I can give you that benediction. I don't want to be killed by any beast, that, or man, beast, or demigod that you have created, because Brahma created all these different forms. And he said, okay, I can grant you that. Grant me that I'm not killed inside or outside, on the earth, on the water, or in the air. It's like, okay, I'll grant you that. So he granted him all these things, and then he considered himself immortal. And then he became very, very powerful, and then he took over the whole planet. He took over Indra's throne, and the king of heaven, he kicked him out, or he ran away. And then And then that's when Prahlad was born. After he had already done all this, and he's already immortal as far as he is concerned. And so then Prahlad, he tried to kill his own son in many ways. He tried to poison him. He put him in a pit full of snakes, and Krishna's in the hearts of the snakes, told him not to bite. He tried having him crushed by an elephant, and the elephant, because Krishna's in the heart of the elephant, picked him up, put him up on his head, on his back. I don't know exactly the position. And he tried, I mentioned poison him. He tried throwing him off of a cliff. He put him in the freezing cold, in a windstorm. He did everything he possibly could, and they put him in boiling oil, and that didn't kill him either. Now, if you're protected by Krishna, nothing can happen to you. It says not if you're a soul surrendered unto Krishna, then, and if he wants you to live, no one can kill you, and if he wants you to die, no one can save you. So if you're a soul surrendered unto Krishna, you're in Krishna's hands, and whatever he wants, that's fine. Just like when someone mentioned during the Second World War to Prabhupada that what if a bomb came down right now, right here, and Prabhupada said, I would think that Krishna has come to take me away, take me back home, take me back home. So he sees everything in relation to Krishna. So Krishna can kill me, Krishna can save me, Krishna can do whatever he likes. So he chose to give protection to Prahlad. So then he brings him. I'm going to read this summary of this is one of the chapters in the Bhagavatam. This is the 7th canto, 7th chapter. I'm sorry, 7th canto. This is chapter 8. Lord Nrsimhadev slaves the king of the demons. As described in this chapter, Hiranyakashipu was ready to kill his own son Prahlad Maharaj, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of the demon as Sri Nrikeshari, half lion and half man, and killed him. Following the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is what devotees do. They preach. They make even non-devotees or even demons into devotees. Now, Krishna says to don't unsettle them. These people just, chant on your own, do your own bhajan. But Prabhupada in the purport says that the devotees understand the purpose of Krishna. So even at risking their own lives sometimes, they still preach. Because the purpose of Krishna is he wants to enjoy with his devotees. So we want to make more devotees for him to enjoy with. So Prahlad was an expert preacher at 5 years old, that he got all his classmates to became attached to Lord Vishnu. Following the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this attachment became pronounced, their teachers, Sanda and Amarka, were very much afraid that the boys would become more and more devoted to the Lord. In a helpless condition, they approached Hiranyakashipu and described in detail the effect of Prahlad's preaching. So they were very scared because they're approaching this person who he doesn't hesitate in killing people. I mean, it's how did he get this position? He had to kill so many people to get into this position. So he's not going to hesitate to kill these teachers. This is what they did with the kids, So that's what he may think. Although they didn't do it, it was Prahlad who did it. But they had to tell him, your own son did this. After hearing of this, Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was so angry that Prahlad Maharaj fell down at his feet and said many things just to pacify him, but he was unsuccessful in satisfying his demoniac father. He tried. He fell down at his feet. I'm sorry, and I don't know exactly what he said, but he tried to pacify him. Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, began to advertise himself as being greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prahlad Maharaj challenged him, saying that Hiranyakashipu was not God, and began to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declaring that the Lord is all-pervading. So, first he tried to pacify him, that didn't work. Then he told him, you're not God, Vishnu's God, and started glorifying Vishnu. He's a real preacher. That everything is under him, and that no one is equal to or greater than him. Even at one point, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad when he tried to kill him in so many ways. This was previously, he tried to kill him in so many ways, and yet he couldn't kill him. He wouldn't die, and he said, "Where do you get your superhuman powers?" And Prahlad said, "I get my superhuman powers the same place you do, from Lord Vishnu. The only thing is I acknowledge him and you don't." He declared that the Lord is all-pervading, that everything is under him, and that no one is equal to or greater than him. Thus he requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. So what do you think happened? Did he follow Prahlad's instructions? Demons, sometimes you can't preach. Prabhupada explains that for devotees we should see 4 things. We should see Krishna or the Supreme Lord or Vishnu, Narayan. We should see the devotees who are trying to surrender to Krishna, Narayan, Vishnu, Ram. We see the devotees, we see the Lord. And we should see the innocent. These are people who are misled. And the demons. And the demons are demons. And they are not going to change. So for the demons, you will avoid their association. For the devotees you associate with, of course, for the Supreme Lord you worship, and for the innocent you preach to them. So how do you know who is innocent and who is a demon? Anybody want to say, guess?
The demon is usually kind of doesn't like God. If you mention God, they get angry. They just these are natural disdain for God. And
basically, that's it. You start preaching to them and they start getting really angry, then you know they're demons. And then you stop preaching to them, because you shouldn't preach to the faithless. But you really have to preach to them to find out. They don't have horns. Otherwise that would make it really easy. The only way you're going to know is to talk to them a little bit. And then when you talk to them, and most people are innocent. Most people are not demons. There are some demons, and those people you avoid. But Prahlad was even preaching to the demons. He was so expert. He got all the demon sons, who were demons, to be devotees. He tried even with his father. Pretty heavy preaching for a person that's so angry he's going to kill you. He tried killing you so many times already. And he's still trying to help him. Thus he requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. The more Prahlad Maharaj glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what do you think happened? The more angry and agitated the demon became. Hiranyakashipu asked his Vaishnava son whether his God existed within the columns of the palace, And Prahlad Maharaj immediately accepted that since the Lord is present everywhere, he was also present within the columns. When Hiranyakashipu heard this philosophy from his young son, he derided the boy's statement as just the talk of a child and forcefully struck the pillar with his fist. With his fist. Sometimes you see it with his sword. It says with his fist. As soon as Hiranyakashipu struck the column, there issued forth a tumultuous sound. Lord Nrsimhadev is waiting there, waiting. Come on, come on. His devotee son is getting, his devotee is getting harassed. This little boy, and he was really anxious. So at first, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, could not see anything but the pillar. But to substantiate Prahlad's statement, the Lord came out of the pillar in his wonderful incarnation as Nrsimha, half lion and half man. Hiranyakashipu could immediately understand that the extraordinarily wonderful form of the Lord was surely meant for his death, and thus he prepared to fight with the form of half lion and half man. He's also thinking how he's immortal. So his brother didn't get these benedictions. But I have an opportunity to kill the Lord, finally. He was anxious for this. The Lord performed his pastimes by fighting with the demon for some time. And in the evening, on the border between day and night, the Lord captured the demon, threw him on his lap, and killed him by piercing his abdomen with his nails. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. The Lord performed this pastime by fighting with the demon for some time. And in the evening, so we don't know how long he's fighting. Normally you break fast when the Lord appears. Think he appeared by now? Because here we break fast when Hiranyakashipu is killed. I guess that's the time we celebrate. Because we don't break fast when he appears. We break fast after Hiranyakashipu is killed. That's at dusk. So the Lord performed this pastime by fighting with the demon for some time, and in the evening, on the border, between day and night, the Lord captured the demon, threw him on his lap, and killed him by piercing his abdomen with his nails. The Lord not only killed Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, but also killed many of his followers. When there was no one else to fight, the Lord, roaring with anger, sat down on Hiranyakashipu's throne. The entire universe was thus relieved of the rule of Hiranyakashipu, and everyone was jubilant in transcendental bliss. Except, actually, there was a lot of people there that were scared because Nrsimhadev was so fearsome and nobody wanted to approach him. Even Shiva, Brahma, nobody wanted to approach him. Then all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons. This was only after, you didn't read, this is just a summary. What actually happened was they got Prahlad and pushed Prahlad forward to go in front of Hiranyakashipu. And he wasn't afraid at all. And then Lord Nrsimhadev became very pacified. And then everyone else came up and offered their prayers after that. But Prahlad Maharaj, and the Lord asked what benediction he would like. He didn't want anything. But then if he wanted something, he wanted his father to be liberated.
To be forgiven.
What?
To be forgiven.
Somebody say it.
Same thing.
He's delivered.
To be forgiven.
Forgiven.
It's the same thing, no?
Well, not forgiven and liberated. So I'll forgive you, but you're going to hell.
That doesn't mean, that means you're still holding grudge, no?
Well, I had my fingers crossed. No, because he didn't get liberated, he still had 2 more births to go. But he will get liberated, so. But he wanted him to be liberated. And he did liberate him, but just a couple of more births. So I can have some more fun. So then all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons, the Pitas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, the Nagas, the Manus, the Prajapatis, the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Yakshas, the Kimpurushas, the Vaitalikas. Anybody know anything about the Vaitalikas? I don't know that. The Kinnaras, and also many other varieties of beings in human form. All of them stood not far from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and began offering their prayers unto the Lord, whose spiritual effulgence was brilliant as he sat on the throne. So that's the story of when the Lord actually appeared, and that's just a summary. It's the whole chapter you have to read. But Lord Nrsimhadev gives protection to his devotees, so we can always pray to Lord Nrsimhadev for protection. Srila Prabhupada had us, worship Lord Nrsimhadev for protection even of this movement, So we chant these different prayers after every arti for Lord Nrsimhadev. He's very kind to his devotees, and if you're not a devotee, he's not. Just what we did when Prabhupada was present on the planet, we did Harinam every day. Devotees would go out on Harinam. And sometimes when demons came and they started really harassing devotees, we'd just say, Namaste Nada Sringaya, and we just chant, and somehow or other they would walk away. It really works. So whenever you have some fear, just take shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev to protect you. Of course, the real protection is not physical protection, but it's the protection of the soul, that the soul doesn't fall down. Just like my devotee will never vanquish it. We're going to vanquish, this body's going to vanquish, but we don't vanquish. So, but we should take shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, and he'll help us. So does anyone have any comments or questions?
Just a small story to share. Gaurang Prabhu was giving a lecture.
Who?
Gaurang Prabhu from Chapati, and they have a Bhakti Vedanta hospital in Meera Road.
Yeah.
And they have Jagannath deities and pictures of Nrsimhadev. So, and the hospital is open to non-devotees as well. So somebody outsider came in and he was admitted, and he saw a big picture of Nrsimhadev on the wall, and he got a little scared. So he asked the doctor, who is this person? And almost all doctors, resident doctors there are devotees. So the doctor said that this is Lord Nrsimhadev. And the patient asked, what is he doing? Because Lord Nrsimhadev was killing Hiranyakashipu in that picture, and he said he's performing the first gastrointestinal surgery. And then the patient asked, was the surgery successful? He said yes.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, there's just the surgery was successful, but the patient died.
Right. Yeah, the operation was a success, so the patient died.
At the beginning you mentioned that what doorkeeper in the Vaikuntha. So also there is a army too there is a chief of the army name is Vishwaksen. So I saw in South India different temple they have the deities of the Vishwaksen too. So I was thinking, what is the use of the army there too?
Well, we don't know. I mean, I'm just saying from my limited knowledge of the Vedas, there may have been times when demons try to attack Vaikuntha just, so devotees can have some fun. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they have an army. If I can't imagine they just have an army to just sit around and never do anything.
Ajamil's soul was saved by his
Who's
army.
talking what?
Ajamil's soul was actually saved by Narayan's army because Yamduts were trying to take him, and he just said Narayan because his son's name was Narayan. But the Narayan's army actually came and saved him. So there are some.
Ajamil.
Vishnu.
Yeah, Vishnu Dutas. I don't know if it was an army, but they came. They stopped the Yamadutas. Yeah.
So it's just, Lord Vishnu, he's like a king. The king always has an army, and he always has gatekeepers. So it's just a part of the it's part of the scene,
What do?
They do their service. It's their service to be a gatekeeper. It's like a
No, the
service.
gatekeepers. I know. What does the army do?
They just,
They just
stay in
keep
shape.
practicing.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what
they
army-
used to
that's what
protect the
soldiers do.
demigods.
They stay in shape. They're always ready to,
I know, but do they ever fight?
probably not. They may fight with each other. Must fight.
Whenever
That's
They
what
say
he
they're
said.
members of
when they needed help, they used to go to Vishnu.
like Vishnu has weapons.
Right.
Always.
Well, when he comes, he uses them.
But he was saying, the gentleman was saying, so Yamaraj was telling his messengers that the messengers of Vishnu, they are always doing something in this world, protecting people, like that. So this army may have some function in this world.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying they do, they don't, I don't know. I would think they do something besides just practice, though. I mean, it's,
I guess all other services were taken, so some people became army.
Like in Vaikuntha, the women are always dusting everything, but there's no dust.
right. Maybe they go out to
They're just
fight,
on the
but then
police.
there's nobody there.
So it's pleasing.
They chickened out. Let's go back.
They have a desire to serve in that function.
Yeah, exactly.
That position's there.
It's hard to say, but there's the reason Krishna. One of the things Prabhupada says is Krishna comes down to the material world because he has desire to fight, and you can't fight in the spiritual world because there's nobody to fight with, and then he can't. And he also says he has to fight with devotees. Can't fight with non-devotees. So sometimes his devotees come to be demons so that he can fight to satisfy Krishna. So there's no real fighting, it seems like, in the spiritual world. Just like there's no dust, but they sweep.
There may be mock fighting, but like Krishna and the cowboys.
Right, there's
Not
that.
like-
That's
Not really like hateful. He doesn't have a real enemy who really wants to
Right,
kill him. And
right.
Yeah.
They're just fun fighting. Yeah. But of course, it's fun fighting for him, even when there's a real enemy that wants to kill him. It's even more exciting fun. Oh, this is really good. Look at all these people. Oh, the demons. Even like Agasura. And his friends all went in the mountain. He's thinking, wow, what am I going to do now? How am I going to save them? He likes these, wow, this is... he got amazed at how Maya can create such a thing. It's really wonderful. So Krishna... he likes an adventure. And even this form, it says, of Lord Nrsimhadev was never seen before. So now what does that mean? That it didn't exist before? But it has to be, if he's eternal.
Never seen him.
I know, but what was he, invisible?
Maybe he wasn't seen by mortals.
Well, it doesn't say that though. It was never seen before. I don't know.
maybe in that day of Brahma.
Huh?
maybe that day of Brahma I haven't seen.
In that day of Brahma, yeah. Yes.
So I was thinking about how Prahlad Maharaj heard the recitation of Bhagavatam while he was in the womb, and he turned out to be an amazing devotee, topmost devotee at the age of 5 years old, with lots of realization. And so relating to our lives, we also try to put what we hear in the practice. We hear Bhagavatam, we study Bhagavad Gita, but we don't get the similar effect. So what do we do? Where do we lack, and how do we progress on the path?
Well, you can ask Narada Muni to preach to you.
Be nice.
That would be wonderful.
Or get Hiranyakashipu as the father then.
Okay, my father is here.
Well, I mean, if we look at Prahlad Maharaj, who was Prahlad Maharaj before he was in the womb of what's the name again? Kaladu. Kayadu. So where was he before that? You know, I'm imagining he was a great pure devotee, not just a one of us, in our situation. So I think you begin where you leave off, from your past life. But at the same time, you're not restricted in any way. You can become pure in a moment. It's just, some people it's easier. Just like in Krishna consciousness. Some people, to follow the regulated principles and to chant 16 rounds a day is really easy. It's like not hard at all. For other people, it's a real strain. I can't do it. I have this, it's very hard. So why is it easier for one and harder for the? Now the person it's harder for, he could still do it. The choice is his. We have our free will, but for some people it's easy. So I mean I don't know for sure, but what I think is for the people that it's very easy to follow these principles. It's because in their past life they were doing this. They begin again where they left off in a previous life. So whatever we're up to now, that's where we left off at. Now the point is we have to make progress. We can make progress rapidly or we can make progress slowly. In either case, we have to make progress. So we have to try to go as fast as we can. Surrender as fast as you can. Give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So whatever different ideas we might have, we can give them up. Just surrender. What do I have to do to surrender? Anything he wants. You have to have that desire. I'm willing to do anything. I don't care how hard it is. I'm willing to do it. Prahlad, he wasn't afraid of anything. He was with the Lord. The Lord was always protecting him. So we may feel, well, that's a little too much. I mean, even accepting a guru, people sometimes, if they're intelligent, would be hesitant to accept the guru. If they're not willing to do anything he tells me, don't matter what he tells me to do, I have to do. You have to have that, and hopefully he doesn't tell me anything I don't want to do. But we have to feel that way, and we have to, before getting initiated. So it's up to us. Sometimes people are fanatics and are gung-ho. They'll do anything and everything. But fanaticism doesn't last. And so if you might feel that way now, I'll do anything, whatever, and I might do it, but then after some time, the same desires that I've always had come back up. And I see I didn't really go too far. What will, Bhagavad Gita says, what will repression accomplish? So you can't repress these things. But he said, param dristvani vartate, by experiencing a higher taste, you can give up the lower taste. So we have to see. I mean, I'm just going to tell you practically what I find, and I think everyone should do, is everyone has a problem in surrendering to Krishna. You're not alone with that problem. But we all have different things that are stopping us from surrendering to Krishna. Some might be gross, like I can't do this gross, and some are subtle. I'm puffed up. It's grossly I can do everything, but I'm proud that I'm doing this. So that's Maya. So we have to really see individually what is the main thing stopping me from surrendering to Krishna. And then we have to work on it if we want to please Krishna and if we want to make progress. It's not just externally. If you're looking at things externally, you're already fallen. I mean, the external things are there, but that's not how you can judge how much spiritual progress you're making. It's external and it's internal. And you can consult with devotees, I have this is my situation. What do you think I should do? And try to, consult with senior devotees who you trust, have faith in, and see what they think. To try to practically how to surrender to Krishna. That's why Prabhupada has this movement, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and he's got opportunities for anyone in any situation to take advantage of this movement and surrender to Krishna. There's so many types of service you can do. Whatever your ability is, Krishna said on the ability in man, you can use that ability and surrender to Krishna. So we have to see what we can do. But we should get initiated to the point where, okay, I had enough of this material world. This is not making me happy in the world. So I'm willing to do anything. So I have to accept the Guru, because that's what Krishna says. And how do you accept the Guru? You find somebody who inspires you. And in ISKCON, there are so many gurus, and you should hear from many gurus. And then when you find one that really inspires you, then you accept them, that one. Because otherwise, it's like buying a house. If you're going to buy a house, it's not the first house you go to, well, yeah, I like it, and I'll buy it. That it may be the one you're going to buy, but you go to look at different houses, and that's a house. That's not eternally your guru. You should find out who's his guru. I got to find somebody that really satisfies. Now, I may find this one, and he's really good, but I should, at least for myself, I should investigate some other gurus. Hear from them also, and see. And then compare and say, no, I was right. This is the one I want. Don't just stick with one. Or I find this other person inspires me even more. So you have to get initiated, but you have to come to the point where you're so fed up with this world, you're willing to do anything to get out. Whatever. And most gurus are reasonable. They're not gonna tell you, okay, leave your wife, leave your family, give up your job, don't worry about them, just come to the ashram and wash pots. So most of them, if not all of them, I can't say for all of them, but I certainly know most of them, they're going to see where you're at, and they're going to try to help you in your situation and make some more progress. But we should accept whatever they tell us. Even once, we distributed so many books in O'Hara Airport and at Chicago. And Srila Prabhupada told Tripurari, because Tripurari was telling him how many books they distributed. He says, you should ask the airport to change the authorities in the airport to change the name from O'Hara to Old Hare Krishna Airport. So he went to the they just threw him out. But Srila Prabhupada said to do that, so he did it. So whatever the Guru says, you do. I mean, you could ask, do you really want me to do that? I mean, you could ask, but and that's another thing. Even like Tamal Krishna was told to go to China, but he didn't. Prabhupada told him, well, first of all, he said, maybe I should just go to China. And Prabhupada said, yes, you should go to China. And then he didn't think he should go, and Prabhupada said, no, you should go. But they argued for some time. But Tamal Krishna had doubts, so he had to make sure that his doubts were clear and that this is really what Prabhupada, I want to make sure Prabhupada understands what are the ramifications if I go to China? What's going to happen with the Radha Damodar party? What's going to happen with everything else? So, and after explaining everything and hearing, and then Prabhupada still said you should go to China, then he went to China. He also asked Prabhupada, can I take someone with me? And Prabhupada said, yes, anyone you want. And he took Drishta Dumna, and they both went to China. And they made Chinese devotees.
So personally, in your case, when you were going through that phase, how did you know that that's Prabhupada is your guru? And
I'm not sure
you
which phase are you talking about. He never asked me to go to China.
No, but when you were going through that phase of surrendering to a guru, you must have gone through that.
First of all, there was only Prabhupada. So we didn't have any choice at the time. And we all wanted Prabhupada. He was the most inspiring person. I was just thinking about, I just read about with Gopal Krishna, that Prabhupada wrote, well, Gopal Krishna wrote to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada wrote back to Gopal Krishna and told him how Gopal Krishna is in America and Prabhupada was in India. He said, I met your parents and they're worried, want to make sure you're eating enough or something. I told them you're okay and your parents are very nice. I mean, Prabhupada went to meet Gopal Krishna's parents in India. And they were devotees. Most people in India were devotees. But anyway, I'm just seeing how he took so much time, so much care, even for meeting the devotees' parents. You know, and he's so busy running a whole big worldwide movement. And I was just going to mention this. It's while I was looking things up in the database, I looked up, this was because he wanted to preach, Gopal Krishna wanted to preach in Connecticut and asked if he can open his temple. And Prabhupada said, yes, you can open a center. He called it a center in Connecticut. But while I was reading, I also found, I don't know if any of you know Polly Perlmutter.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she used to come to our temple. She's 93 years old now, and she lives in Denver, in Colorado. But I sent this letter to Niranjana Swami that I found, where she wrote to Prabhupada, and she also, Prabhupada said, Prabhupada laughed when she said this, I hope I'm not being a menace or something, you know, taking your time, and Prabhupada laughed. But she mentioned to Prabhupada about this big book fair that's going on in Russia, and that the Bhakti Vedanta books should be there. And then Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna, who told Gopal Krishna, and then they went and they distributed books. And it said they distributed so many books that people who didn't have money, they were stealing the books because they wanted them. You know, they really, so this was like the first book distribution in Russia was from one of our people here in Hartford. Polly Perlmutter used to be here in Hartford. She used to come to the temple every week. She was a devotee. mother of a devotee, and she was a devotee. She's vegetarian. She always preaching about Krishna. She was really good. And we are still in touch with her. She's still alive, and we talk to her about at least once a month. And she's really pretty amazing. She used to preach to the devotees' parents, because the devotees, Western devotees, and their kids join the Hare Krishnas. It's like, so she would preach to the parents of that. It's actually a good thing what they're doing. I don't know how I got onto that subject.
He was asking about
hesitations.
He was just asking about the difference between us and Prahlad.
What?
His question was about the difference between us and Prahlad. Why we're not.
Well, that was the question, but I know how did I get all the way to this?
Get on with the process of. We are basically we are aspiring for sadhana siddhi or.
What?
And you talked about doing whatever the Guru says. You can go to Krishna Maharaj, go to China.
Right.
You're talking about
Krishna connected with.
Right.
You're talking about the process as sadhana. Our option is he's a metta siddha, we are sadhana siddha, so the process is very, very. It's a big, long process for us.
Usually, it takes a lifetime. That's what the whole lifetime is for, and it may take more than one lifetime. But what else? What else do you have to do? As long as it takes, we got to do it. We don't really have a choice, Choice is birth, disease, old age, and death, or eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Let's see. Okay, so I think we're gonna have an arti. I'm sure it must be dusk by now. So you have the arti. I'm gonna go up.
Not dusk yet. 20 minutes.
It is dusk.
20 minutes.
Anyway, it's okay. I'm not.
Sun has set. So.
What time does it say?
8:42 is dusk. It's 8:25 now.